Sam had been dreaming of this day for many years. Life in the city had been fast, noisy, and full of endless responsibilities. He worked long hours at the office, while his wife Maria handled most of the home chores. They both wanted a place where they could rest, breathe fresh air, and live in peace. When they found the cabin at the edge of the mountains, it felt like the answer to their prayers. The cabin was small but beautiful. It had a wooden roof, wide windows, and stood in the middle of tall pine trees. The air smelled fresh and clean, filled with the sound of birds singing and the rustle of leaves. For Sam and Maria, this place was more than a house, it was a dream come true. They reached the cabin on a warm afternoon, with their truck full of boxes and crates. Maria stepped out first. She looked around and smiled, her eyes shining with happiness. She picked up one of the boxes filled with books and carried it carefully toward the front door. Sam followed behind with a heavier crate, breathing hard but smiling. Every trip from the truck to the cabin felt like they were building their new life piece by piece. But not everyone welcomed them. On the other side of the narrow dirt road stood Karen, the neighbor. Karen was known as the strict and watchful leader of the local homeowners association. She believed she had control over every little rule, from how people painted their doors to how often they mowed their grass. Many residents kept their distance from her, but no one dared to challenge her directly. Karen stood on her porch with arms folded tightly across her chest. Her sharp eyes followed Maria as she carried another box inside. Instead of greeting the new neighbors, she frowned, whispering under her breath about outsiders and suspicious people. Finally, Karen pulled out her phone and began speaking loudly, as if she wanted Sam and Maria to hear every word. "Yes, officer," she said, her voice firm. "We have strangers moving boxes into a cabin here. I do not know what is inside. It looks suspicious. Please send someone quickly." Maria froze on the cabin steps, holding a box of dishes. She turned to her husband with confusion written on her face. "Sam, why is she calling the police?" "We just arrived," she said softly. Sam sighed, shaking his head. "Looks like trouble found us faster than we thought. Let us not react. We have done nothing wrong." They continued unloading their truck, though the happy excitement of the day was slowly fading. Karen, meanwhile, stood proudly on her porch, as if she had done a great service to the neighborhood. Within 15 minutes, the sound of tires crunching against the gravel road filled the air. A police car stopped in front of the cabin. The officer stepped out with a serious look, scanning the area. He noticed Karen waving at him with exaggerated movements, pointing toward Sam and Maria. "There, officer," Karen said loudly. "They are moving suspicious boxes. I do not know who they are." The officer ignored Karen for a moment and walked closer to Maria, who was still holding a box in her arms. He looked at her face, studied her posture, and then suddenly his expression changed. His eyes widened, and he straightened his back quickly. Then, in a sharp and respectful motion, he raised his hand in salute. "Delta Force," the officer asked with a mix of surprise and respect. Maria stood still, her lips pressed together. She did not answer right away. Sam looked at her, shocked and confused, as if hearing this for the first time. Karen's jaw dropped, and her confidence began to melt away. The air grew heavy with silence. The officer remained firm, his salute held high, while Karen stumbled over her words. "WH, what is going on? Who are these people?" Sam's heart raced. He had always known Maria was strong and independent, but he had never heard of her being connected to something like Delta Force. He glanced at her, waiting for an explanation. Maria lowered the box slowly and set it down on the cabin steps. She looked at the officer calmly, but her silence carried more weight than words. The moment felt unreal, and Sam realized that the quiet life he had hoped for might be far more complicated than he imagined. The day that was supposed to be about peace and fresh beginnings had just taken a dramatic turn. The air around the cabin felt different after the officer's words. The salute was still fresh in Sam's mind. He stood frozen, watching Maria, who seemed calm but also distant, as if she was carefully choosing silence over explanation. Karen's face was pale, her confidence slipping away. She had expected the officer to scold the newcomers or send them away. Instead, the man in uniform was treating Maria with deep respect, something Karen could not understand. The officer lowered his hand and spoke again. His tone was no longer suspicious, it carried recognition. "Ma'am, I am Officer Ryan. Forgive me for the interruption. Are you settling here?" Maria gave a small nod. "Yes, officer. My husband and I bought this cabin. We just want a peaceful home." Karen interrupted quickly. "Peaceful home? They are strangers. They did not inform the association. They could be hiding something dangerous in those boxes." Ryan turned his head toward Karen, his eyes sharp. "Ma'am, please step back. I will handle this." Karen opened her mouth to argue, but the firm look in his eyes made her retreat a step. She muttered under her breath, but her words carried little power now. Sam, still confused, finally asked, "Officer, what did you mean by Delta Force? Why did you salute my wife?" Ryan looked at Maria as if asking for permission. Maria kept her gaze steady. "It is fine. You can tell him." Ryan spoke carefully. "Your wife served in one of the most elite military units. I did not expect to see her here. Only a few know about such things, and I happen to recognize her from training records." Sam's eyes widened. His heart beat faster. "Maria, you never told me." Maria lowered her head. "I wanted a normal life, Sam. My past was not something I wanted to carry into our future. I thought leaving it behind would keep things simple." Sam was silent. A mixture of pride, confusion, and worry filled him. He wanted to ask more, but the moment was not right. Ryan straightened his uniform. "Sir, ma'am, you have nothing to fear. You are welcome here. If anyone troubles you, let me know. I will check in from time to time." With that, he tipped his hat slightly, gave Maria one last respectful nod, and returned to his car. The police vehicle drove down the gravel road, leaving dust in the air. Karen stood on her porch, stiff and speechless. Her plan had failed, and instead of being seen as a protector of the neighborhood, she now looked like a troublemaker who had embarrassed herself. She quickly stepped inside her house, slamming the door behind her. Sam and Maria stood alone again. The cabin, which had felt like a peaceful dream only an hour earlier, now carried a heavy secret between them. Sam finally broke the silence. "Maria, why did you not tell me? All these years, I thought I knew everything about you." Maria placed a gentle hand on his shoulder. "I never wanted to lie to you. But I also never wanted my past to become a shadow over us. Those years were difficult, Sam. I did things I cannot talk about easily. This cabin was supposed to be a place where we could start fresh." Sam looked into her eyes and saw the pain she carried. He wanted to argue, but the weight of her words stopped him. He realized this was not about trust alone, it was about wounds she had kept buried deep. He took a deep breath. "All right, Maria. If this is the life you want now, I will respect it. But you must promise me one thing. No more secrets. Whatever comes our way, we face it together." Maria nodded slowly, a soft smile appearing. "I promise." They picked up the boxes again, carrying them inside. Yet, even as they arranged dishes on the shelves and books on the table, Sam's thoughts were restless. He kept replaying the officer's salute, the title Delta Force, and Maria's silence. Outside, the pine trees swayed gently with the wind. The sun began to dip behind the mountains, painting the sky in shades of orange and pink. It was a beautiful evening, but under that beauty lay tension. Maria stood by the window, staring at the fading light. She whispered to herself so quietly that Sam could not hear. "Please let the past stay buried." But deep inside, Maria knew that the past never stayed buried forever. The cabin was quiet after sunset. The forest outside whispered with the sound of wind moving through the trees. Owls called from the distance, and the wooden walls creaked from the cool night air. Sam and Maria had finished placing most of their belongings in order. They sat at the small kitchen table, eating a simple meal of bread and soup. Sam kept glancing at Maria. His mind was still restless. He wanted to ask more about her past, but the look in her eyes told him she was not ready. She carried strength, but also a heavy silence that he did not want to break. Maria noticed his unease. She placed her hand on his and spoke softly. "Sam, I know this is hard for you. I promise, I am not hiding because I do not trust you. I just wanted this place to be about peace, not about war." Sam nodded, forcing a smile. "Then let us focus on peace. We came here for a new beginning." For a while, they ate in silence. After dinner, Maria cleaned the dishes, while Sam went outside to bring in firewood. The sky was dark, filled with bright stars. The cabin's lantern light spilled across the porch. Sam paused, taking in the quiet night. He wanted to believe this cabin would be safe, but deep down, he wondered if Maria's past would follow them here. As he stacked the wood by the door, a sound caught his ear. It was faint, almost like a branch snapping under weight. Sam turned quickly, scanning the trees. For a moment, everything looked still. Then another sound came, this time from the opposite side of the cabin. "Probably animals," Sam whispered to himself, though his heart beat faster. He picked up the last log and stepped inside. Maria was setting blankets near the fireplace when she saw his face. "What is it?" she asked. "I thought I heard something outside." "Maybe just animals," Sam replied, trying to sound calm. Maria's eyes narrowed. "What kind of sound?" "Branches breaking." "Movement." "Could be nothing," he said. Maria walked to the window and looked out into the darkness. Her body became still, her breathing controlled. Sam recognized this change in her. It was not fear, it was awareness. She was scanning the shadows with the focus of someone trained. After a long pause, she turned back to him. "We must stay alert. Out here, silence can hide many things." They locked the doors and closed the shutters. Sam lit another lantern and placed it in the corner, filling the room with warm light. He tried to calm himself, but Maria's words stayed in his head. Hours passed, and the cabin grew quiet again. Sam fell asleep on the couch, while Maria sat near the window, watching the tree line. Her mind was far away, pulled back into memories she wished to forget. She remembered nights like this in distant lands, waiting in silence, knowing enemies could be near. Just past midnight, Maria heard it clearly. Footsteps. Slow, careful, and too heavy to belong to an animal. Her body stiffened. She moved silently across the room and touched Sam's shoulder. He woke instantly when he saw her serious face. "Someone is outside," she whispered. Sam's stomach tightened. "Are you sure?" Maria nodded. "Stay here. Do not make noise." Before he could stop her, she picked up a flashlight and slipped to the back door. She opened it without a sound and stepped onto the porch. The cold air wrapped around her, and the forest stood dark and watchful. She listened. The footsteps had stopped. Maria moved down the steps, sweeping the flashlight across the trees. For a moment, nothing appeared. Then she caught a glimpse of movement, a figure slipping behind a tree trunk. Her grip on the light tightened, and her voice rang out firm and clear. "Who is there?" Silence. Sam stood at the door, watching with fear and admiration. Maria's stance was strong, her voice unshaken. After a tense pause, a voice finally answered from the darkness. "Easy. I am not here to harm you." A man stepped out slowly, his hands raised. His clothes were rough, his face tired. He looked like someone who had been traveling for days. Maria kept the light on him. "Why are you near our cabin at night?" The man gave a faint smile. "Because I was looking for you. I did not know you lived here now. But I know who you are." Sam felt the air grow heavy again. Another stranger, another secret, another piece of Maria's hidden past had just arrived at their door. The night air grew colder as the man stood under the beam of Maria's flashlight. His face was lined with exhaustion, and his clothes carried dust as if he had traveled far. Yet his eyes were sharp, watching Maria with both respect and urgency. Sam stayed by the cabin door, unsure if he should step outside. His heart pounded, but he trusted Maria's judgment. Maria kept her stance firm. "You said you were looking for me. How do you know who I am?" The man lowered his hands slowly. "My name is Daniel. Years ago, I served in the same missions as you. You may not remember me, but I remember you. People spoke your name with respect." Maria's grip on the flashlight tightened. Her voice stayed calm. "If you know my past, then you also know I do not want it to follow me here. Why are you at my door?" Daniel's eyes shifted to the dark woods as if he feared someone was listening. He took a step closer and spoke in a low voice. "Because your past is already here. I followed signs. Someone else is searching for you. I came to warn you before they do." Sam stepped forward, unable to stay silent. "Wait. What do you mean someone is searching for her? We came here to live quietly. Who would care about her now?" Daniel's expression grew grave. "Enemies do not forget. Not when you carried out missions that changed their world. Maria, the shadows you left behind have not faded. If you stay here unprepared, danger will find you." Silence filled the porch. The only sound was the whisper of wind through the pines. Sam looked at Maria, his mind spinning with questions. He had thought the biggest challenge would be adjusting to country life, not facing threats from a past he never knew existed. Maria's face remained calm, but inside she felt the weight of Daniel's words. She had hoped that years of quiet living would erase those connections, but deep down, she knew Daniel was right. She finally spoke. "Why warn me? You could have stayed hidden and safe." Daniel gave a faint, tired smile. "Because I owe you. Years ago, You saved my life. Without you, I would not be standing here. When I heard whispers that your name had resurfaced, I could not stay away. Sam struggled to understand. His wife was not just someone who had served in the military. She was someone others owed their lives to. He looked at her with new eyes, feeling both pride and fear. Maria lowered the flashlight slightly but kept her voice steady. Thank you for the warning. But you cannot stay here. If you were followed, you might lead them right to us. Daniel nodded. I was careful. But you must prepare. Watch your steps, and trust no one. Before Sam could ask more, Daniel turned and moved back into the forest. The beam of the flashlight followed him for a moment before the darkness swallowed his figure. Soon, the night grew quiet again. Sam closed the door behind Maria as they stepped back inside. His voice was tense. Maria, is this true? Are we in danger? Maria placed the flashlight on the table and sat down heavily. I do not know how soon, but yes. If Daniel found me, others can too. Sam rubbed his forehead. We bought this cabin for peace. And now it feels like we are standing on the edge of something I cannot even understand. Maria reached for his hand. I wanted this life with you. I still want it. But I cannot pretend anymore. My past will not let me go so easily. The fire in the fireplace crackled softly, but the warmth did little to ease Sam's unease. He thought about the officer who had saluted, the neighbor who had stirred trouble, and now this stranger who had appeared from the woods with warnings. It felt like each day in the cabin peeled back a layer of Maria's hidden life. Maria looked toward the window where the trees stood tall and dark. She whispered, almost to herself, if they come, I will be ready. I have faced worse before. But this time, I am not alone. Sam squeezed her hand. Then we face it together. No matter what comes. For the rest of the night, sleep did not come easily. The cabin was quiet, but every sound outside made Sam alert. The crack of branches, the call of an owl, even the wind against the shutters felt heavier than before. Maria sat awake long after Sam finally drifted into restless sleep. She knew the stranger's warning was not empty. Somewhere in the darkness of the pines, shadows were already moving. The next morning, the forest looked peaceful under the soft light of the sun. Birds chirped in the tall pines, and a gentle breeze stirred the leaves. Sam tried to shake off the tension from the previous night, but the memory of Daniel's warning weighed on him. He wanted this cabin to be a place of rest, but the air felt heavy with anticipation. Maria moved through the cabin with quiet efficiency, unpacking the last of their boxes. Her calm demeanor contrasted with Sam's nervous energy. She had trained for situations far more dangerous than this, but she also understood that a peaceful life was worth protecting. Sam, we need to be cautious, she said, breaking the silence. Daniel's warning is serious. People from my past can be clever. They will not just walk up to the door. We must watch for signs. Sam nodded, though he was unsure what that meant. Signs of what? How will we know? Maria set down a box of kitchen utensils and looked at him seriously. Anything unusual? Tracks in the dirt, broken branches, strange noises. Even a shadow moving too quickly. We cannot ignore small details. Sam took a deep breath, trying to focus. I will do my best. But I am not trained like you. I might miss things. Maria smiled softly, a brief moment of warmth in a tense morning. Then I will teach you. Together, we can protect this place. As they finished unpacking, Maria suggested they take a walk around the cabin. The fresh air would calm Sam and allow them to check for anything unusual. They moved carefully through the forest, Maria scanning the trees with trained eyes while Sam followed closely behind. At the edge of the property, Maria paused. Her hand went to a tree trunk as she crouched slightly. "Look here," she said. Sam bent down. There were footprints in the soft soil, slightly larger than a man's, moving along the perimeter of the cabin. Some branches were snapped at knee height, as if someone had passed quickly. "Someone has been here recently," Maria whispered. "Not long after Daniel came." Sam's stomach tightened. "Do you mean someone is watching us now?" Maria nodded. "Yes. We are not alone. But they do not know the cabin well. That gives us an advantage." They continued their walk, marking spots where footprints and broken branches appeared. Maria explained how to identify movements in the forest, how to notice disturbances in soil or leaves, and how to remain silent if someone approached. Sam listened carefully, absorbing every word. He realized that even in peaceful surroundings, vigilance could save lives. When they returned to the cabin, Maria locked the doors and closed the shutters. She paced briefly, thinking aloud. "We must be prepared. Not just for tonight, but for any time. I will show you defensive techniques, and we will plan for every possibility." Sam ran his fingers through his hair. "I did not know our new life would start with this. I thought it would be calm, quiet, safe." Maria reached for his hand. "Peace is worth fighting for. We may face shadows from my past, but we can handle them together. You must trust me." The day passed with tension in the air. Sam tried to focus on arranging furniture and tidying the cabin, but every small noise made him glance toward the window. Maria taught him how to listen to the forest, how to detect patterns in sounds, and how to be ready without panic. As evening approached, the sky turned orange and pink. Sam looked out at the pine trees, noticing shadows lengthening across the ground. He finally understood that the mountains held secrets, some old, some new, and that their peaceful life was now linked to vigilance. Maria set up a small lantern near the front door. "We will take turns watching tonight. Even a quiet night can hold danger. If anyone comes, we must be ready." Sam nodded, still uneasy but determined. "I am with you, Maria. We face it together." As darkness fell, the forest became a sea of moving shadows. The wind whispered through the pines, carrying faint sounds that seemed louder than they were. Maria and Sam settled into their positions, alert and ready, knowing that their peaceful cabin was no longer just a dream. It had become a place worth defending. Somewhere deep in the woods, someone or something watched silently. The quiet of the mountains was only a mask for what might come. Night had fully fallen over the cabin. The stars sparkled faintly through the branches of the tall pine trees, and the forest was alive with quiet sounds. Every rustle, every whisper of the wind, seemed louder in the tense silence. Sam and Maria sat near the fireplace, their alertness high despite the warmth of the cabin. Maria had spent the day teaching Sam how to recognize unusual movements and sounds. He now understood the importance of attention, but nothing could prepare him for what was about to happen. From the corner of her eye, Maria noticed movement outside the window. She froze, signaling Sam to remain still. He followed her gaze and saw a shadow slipping between the trees. The figure was careful, slow, and deliberate. "They are here," Maria whispered. "Get behind me, Sam." Sam's heart pounded. He did as told, moving close to Maria. She picked up a small flashlight and held it ready. Her military training came naturally, her body poised for action, her mind sharp and calculating. A man stepped into the faint light of the lantern by the door. His face was partially covered by a hood, and he moved with quiet precision. Maria's eyes narrowed. "Who are you? Show yourself." The stranger froze, then raised his hand slowly. "I mean no harm," he said in a calm voice. "I am not here to fight. I only want to speak with you." Maria stayed cautious, keeping the flashlight trained on him. Sam glanced at her, nervous but trusting her judgment. "Why now?" he asked softly. The man lowered his hood. His eyes were tired, but there was intelligence behind them. "Because your past is catching up. You cannot hide anymore. I was sent to warn you before it is too late." Maria's expression remained unreadable. "Another warning," she said. "We have already received one tonight." "Yes," the man replied. "But this one is more urgent. People are already tracking your cabin. They know where you are, and they are planning to approach soon." Sam felt a chill run down his spine. "Why would anyone come here? We are not involved in anything dangerous." Maria placed a hand on his shoulder. "Sam, listen to me. My past missions may have ended years ago, but some people have long memories. They have reasons we cannot see. We must be ready for anything." The stranger continued. "I tried to stay hidden, but your cabin is small, and the area is open. You have very little time. Prepare your defenses. Watch your surroundings carefully, and do not trust unexpected visitors." Maria nodded. "Thank you for the warning. Leave now, and stay out of sight. If they see you here, it could put everyone at risk." The man gave a brief nod and melted into the shadows of the forest. Maria watched until she could no longer see him. Then she turned to Sam. "This is serious," she said. "We have to expect visitors soon. We need a plan, Sam. Tonight, we cannot rest fully." Sam's anxiety grew, but he tried to steady himself. "What do we do? How do we protect ourselves?" Maria went to the small cabinet and brought out a few simple items she had kept ready. "We start with basic security. Locks, lights, noise alerts. I will show you how to set them up. You do exactly as I say, and we can handle anything that comes." The rest of the night was busy. Sam followed Maria's instructions carefully, learning how to move quietly, how to observe patterns in the forest, and how to remain calm under pressure. He realized that his dream of a peaceful cabin was now intertwined with vigilance and strategy. Hours passed, and the wind through the trees seemed louder, as if carrying secrets from unseen eyes. Sam finally began to understand the reality Maria had faced for years: a life where danger could appear without warning, even in the quietest places. By the time the first light of dawn touched the cabin, Maria and Sam were exhausted but alert. They had set up basic defenses and created a plan in case someone tried to approach. The forest looked peaceful again, but both new appearances could be deceiving. Maria looked at Sam. "We did well tonight. But this is only the beginning. We have to stay ready, and we have to trust each other completely." Sam nodded. "I trust you, Maria. Whatever comes, we face it together." As the morning sun rose, the forest seemed calm, but deep within the shadows, eyes watched the cabin. The first encounter had ended, but the real test was only beginning. The cabin lay silent under the early morning sun. The forest seemed calm, but Sam and Maria knew better. Shadows of the night had left a warning, and the day ahead would test their courage and unity. Maria moved around the cabin, checking every door and window. Her movements were precise and deliberate, reflecting years of training. Sam followed, learning quickly how to notice even the smallest signs of disturbance. Their teamwork had grown overnight, and he now felt more confident. "We must stay alert," Maria said, her voice firm. "They will not come openly. Whoever is following us will try to blend with the forest, approach quietly, and test our defenses." Sam nodded. "I understand. I will follow your lead." The morning passed slowly, each sound in the forest making them glance toward the trees. Hours seemed longer than they were, and the tension remained high. They prepared food, checked their basic alarms, and even practiced moving silently from one side of the cabin to the other. As noon approached, a faint rustle in the trees caught Maria's attention. She froze, motioning for Sam to do the same. A figure appeared, moving carefully between the trunks. Maria's eyes narrowed. "They are coming," she whispered. "Stay calm and follow my instructions." The figure drew closer, stepping into a small clearing near the cabin. Maria and Sam were ready. They moved silently to the side, hidden by the shadows of the porch. The man stepped forward and finally spoke. "Maria, Sam, do not be afraid. I am here to help." Maria tilted her head, assessing him. "Who are you, and why should we trust you?" The man removed his hood, revealing a familiar face. It was Daniel, the stranger who had warned them before. "I came back to guide you through this. There are others who know your location. They are skilled, but not prepared for what we can do together." Maria studied his expression. She trusted Daniel, but she also knew that caution was necessary. "What do you suggest?" Daniel smiled faintly. "We set a trap. Make them think the cabin is unprotected. We lure them into a place where we have the advantage. Your skills, combined with Sam's willingness to learn, will give us the upper hand." Sam's heart raced. "A trap? You mean we confront them?" Maria placed a hand on his shoulder. "Yes, Sam. But carefully. We do not act recklessly. We wait for the right moment. Are you ready?" He nodded, feeling determination rising within him. "I am ready. With you, I am ready." The afternoon passed with careful observation. Shadows moved in the distance, but Maria and Sam stayed hidden, watching, learning, and planning. When the sun began to set, the forest grew darker, and the air carried a faint chill. Suddenly, movement near the edge of the clearing caught their attention. Several figures emerged, trying to stay unnoticed. Maria and Sam were ready. Using signals, they positioned themselves strategically around the cabin. When the intruders stepped into the clearing fully, Maria's voice rang out loud and commanding. "Stop! Identify yourselves." The figures froze. Maria stepped forward confidently, with Sam close behind her. Daniel emerged from hiding, his presence adding authority to their warning. One of the intruders, the apparent leader, hesitated. "We only want information. We mean no harm if you cooperate." Maria's eyes were sharp and unyielding. "You chose to come here. You do not get to decide what we allow. Leave now, and you will not be harmed. Stay, and you face the consequences." The leader measured the confidence and preparedness of the three. Slowly, he signaled his team to retreat. They vanished into the forest, leaving behind only the soft rustle of leaves. Maria exhaled deeply, lowering her shoulders for the first time that day. Sam came to her side. They left. We did it? Daniel smiled. For now, yes. But be aware. Shadows never disappear completely. You must always stay vigilant. Sam looked around the cabin, at the forest that had seemed peaceful before but now felt alive with secrets. He realized that this place, this cabin, was not just a dream, it was a home worth protecting. Maria held Sam's hand, feeling the warmth of their unity. We face the future together. Whatever comes, we will be ready. This is our home, and we will defend it. As the stars appeared once more in the night sky, the cabin stood strong, surrounded by pine trees and the quiet hum of nature. The shadows had come, but Sam and Maria had faced them and grown stronger. Their dream of peace remained, protected not just by walls, but by courage, trust, and love. For the first time in many nights, they felt hope and safety. The past would always be part of them, but it no longer controlled them. Together, they were unstoppable.